The acetabular cages were used very often in the past, but nowadays the use of cages has been on the decline. There are two main types of cages, the roof reinforcement cages and anti-protrusio cages. The roof reinforcement cages are like the Muller's ring, and the anti-protrusio devices have got an ischial flange to bridge the ilium, ischium and pelvis together. Now the reinforcement rings were designed for the reconstruction of the acetabular floor, cavity defects and smaller defects of the lateral border of the acetabulum. And these devices extend from ilium superiorly to the inferior-medial aspect of the acetabulum. One tip here is to achieve bone contact with the inferior-medial part of the host acetabulum and size them appropriately. Once you size them, there is some initial stability because they don't integrate. This becomes an important point in preventing early failure of these sort of devices. Now the Muller's cage is the most commonly used roof reinforcement device, and these cannot be used in higher grade segmental deficiencies of the acetabulum. There is some evidence on the use of Gann's cage, which has got an additional obturator hook, but these must not be used in patients with type 3 defects or those with pelvic discontinuity. Some sort of medial protrusio or 2C defects, it is an option, but with the availability of highly porous hemispherical sockets nowadays, these are not that commonly used. The Gann's cage itself has shown about 20% failure at 10 years outcome. We also have this striker cage, which is called gap 2. It's typically used in conjunction with some sort of impaction grafting. So this is a case example. You can see here that there is a 3B type of defect here. And in these cases, sometimes the largest available socket may be smaller than the acetabular diameter here, which we are finding, and the column may be completely deficient. So one option is to use augments with the trabecular metal revision shell, as we've described previously, but you can also use a sort of impaction bone grafting with a cage with a cemented cup. So this is an option. It's a low cost option, but this has got a higher midterm failure rates. So now the question is how to optimize the use of these cages. Can we make something cheaper than the large constructs of the trabecular metal? You can make it semi-biological, like this particular 3A defect. We use a trabecular metal augment to reduce the acetabular size, and now the trabecular metal augment will ingrow into the acetabulum, and once you put a cage on the trabecular metal augment and unitize the augment to the cage, it becomes a semi-biological construct instead of being a completely mechanical construct. And once you cement this, bone grafted, this has potential for lasting a reasonable amount of time. Now the curvable cross cage is commonly available in our country, but this again, in our practice, we do not use it except when we are using a cemented dual mobility cup, because metal backed cemented cups do not do that well as a standalone. So if you're using a cemented dual mobility for some reason, I think it's a good option to use a reinforcement device. There is some evidence in literature about the curvable cages, about 92% survivorship at 13 years in 60 consecutive revision THA as published by the author himself, but some of these were minor grade acetabular defects. So this is a case with recurrent dislocation where we use the dual mobility cemented cup and we use the cage and a cemented cup as a standby. But these are again prone to failure, as you can see here. One of the cases which I revised later on, I showed you the use of this particular device in a segmental deficiency of the acetabulum is not a good idea, because this will pull out and go into abduction failure, and that's what happened at about a year in this particular patient. Now the anti-protrusio cages are the Schneider cage, which is the most commonly published and used cage, and you also have similar devices from Smith & Nephew and Dupuy as well. And this has got an iliac flange which allows proximal screw fixation in the direction of the sacroiliac joint, and the slim pointed upwardly curved inferior flange facilitates correct implantation into the ischium. However, it is sometimes cumbersome, as we were discussing. You need to put an osteotome, put the slot in the bone, try and match it, and usually it sits more vertical and retroverted than you would want. It has been used in the past for revisions with significantly deficient bone stock in conjunction with structural bone grafting. Some evidence in literature showing decent outcome at 5 years, but most of these devices tend to fail at about 10 years post-op because of structural failure of the cage themselves. This is a 3B defect which I showed previously, where we use the ischial flange into the ischium, inferior fixation, medial bone grafting, and this particular patient did well. However, in general, the cages, the Birch-Schneider cage is non-biologic in nature, it is non-integrating and is prone to fatigue, failure of the screws and flanges, and it's a disaster if you use in patients with pelvic discontinuity, because the discontinuity will not heal and they will fail at about a year or two following the surgery. Now, this is a case of 3B defect with discontinuity. My own patient couldn't afford much. We went ahead and did the medial grafting, put the cage, put a cup in correct position. You can see it was a decent reconstruction and seemed to be doing well at about 7 years. But after the 8th year, it's progressively started failing once the graft starts resorbing. So always be cautious about the graft resorption and midterm failure of these sort of devices in high-grade bone deficiencies. Custom cage, we have seen that these have been talked about, custom triflange cups. We have our own judgel. This is a case which I borrowed from one of my friends, and this is the sort of reconstruction which can be possible. Now, cup cage construct, people tend to mistake the cup cage construct from some of these uncemented cages which are available. Cup cage typically by definition involves the use of a trabecular metal revision shell, and this is buttressed by a cage on top of that particular revision shell. So it does not indicate the other type of cementless cup cages which have been in the market. But as we discussed again, we need a cup which is more than 62 to put a 44 mm cage. 44 cage is not routinely available, so this is usually an impractical option. But in complicated cases, a cup cage tends to be a reasonable option. This was an abduction failure, happened at 2 years because of failing to put inferior screws, and then the high hip center again is a problem. And this was salvaged using a cup cage construct where the trabecular metal cup was put back in, inferior screws were put in, and then a cage was used to buttress this particular construct, and this is a 7-year follow-up. We also have uncemented cages like Octopus, which was very popular in the past, and now we have the MRP Titan. But these again are not excellent options in the setting of pelvic discontinuity. But if you are using these in some sort of a 2C, probably up to 3A type of defects, you have some sort of an ability to phase change the liner, use a 10-20 degree elevated lip liner, so it may be a reasonable bailout. But whenever there is discontinuity, this particular device is bound to fail. To summarize, whether it's the anti-protrusion device or the reinforcement ring, there is a high failure rate at 10 years, about 20%, and these must be reserved for specific situations. And if you are using them, you must use it as a semi-biological construct in conjunction with augments in order to optimize the long-term survivorship. Thank you.